customers will ask me, well, aren't you always going to recover the flight, right? We're always going to do our best to find the best solution, the best recovery. But if there's a situation and you can have an on time or very minimal delay and it's going to cost $30,000 more, if you have this service, you can very easily take that $30,000 hit as long as it's covered within the service. It's not going to be take that hit to you. You're going to get the best, the fastest recovery. Hi, this is Dan Harris, and welcome to the Iron Bird podcast. On today's podcast, we have Charter Flight Support. We have Josh Allen, the founder and CEO of Charter Flight Support, and Erin Donnelly, the newly hired
6 months.
Newly hired Chief Operating Officer of Charter Flight Support. Josh, Erin, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I think we'll jump in first, and I'll pose this to you, Erin. What do you think that people get wrong about Charter Flight Support? When you're talking to people, when they first hear about Charter Flight Support, like what are the misconceptions that you often get from people?
It's ones that I kind of had myself. I think the one thing is people just understanding it and wrapping their head around what is the product, what do we support, what do we service? And when we explain that to people, I hear a lot like, well, what's the catch? Like, is that, I don't get it. Is that too good to be true? Or how are you going to make that work? So I think we're really trying to focus on a lot of education pieces there. I think another big piece of it is the understanding the flexibility that it offers. I think myself and a lot of other people, because it was the main, I guess, focus when you started was something to really service like the traditional retail broker piece, that kind of straightforward, I'm sourcing something, protect the cost. But we actually have a lot of different offerings that can offer flexibility, whether you're an operator. A lot of our clients and our big clients are operators. If you have program pricing or if you're just that traditional broker model.
It was really built off of Josh's pain, right, as operating flights, but it's grown to a lot more than that. So run us through the actual offerings of the service where everyone thinks it's just for charter brokers that when they book a flight, they can protect it if there's a mechanical service. But what are when you think about the offerings, like how do you go through the offerings for the different types of customers?
So a lot of people ask us that question too. Like it's really not like a cookie cutter approach. So when we're working with people, there's lots of different ways. We call it like deployment. And I think a lot of our clients, once we talk to them and they realize that it's not just one way to deploy. I mean, a client can choose one way to deploy and stick with that, but they can also have a handful of different ways. I guess a lot of my background coming from jet card programs and working at an operator, I guess in my head, when I first was talking to Josh about it before even working here, I thought more about it as like an internal tool. So thinking that it wouldn't really be externally talked about. Yeah. So that people would understand because it's a set percentage by cost and you could build that in and kind of do your own assessment of that. And so coming here, it was really interesting to me to see that what large percentage of people actually use it as a front facing, almost like an opt-in, opt-out. And we've seen that be really successful with people.
Funny you say that. We had an issue as we were talking before where we offered it to the customer. He opted out. And then when they had a mechanical issue, he kind of realized like, oh, like I opted out of this. So now I know I'm not as covered as I should be. For my use, I like, even when customers don't take it, which I hate, there's some times where I'll even take it myself. When I know like a customer declines it, I'll then go take it out of my pocket. But I think it just sets a good precedent that like there's this service it's going to provide. The way I pitch it a lot is customers will ask me, well, aren't you always going to recover the flight, right? And I said, well, we're always going to do our best to find the best solution, the best recovery. But if there's a situation and you can have an on time or very minimal delay and it's going to cost $30,000 more, or there's a delay that is going to cost you 4 or 5 hours and it's a $5,000 or $2,000 delay, like, sorry, we're going to take the one that's going to be a little bit more minimal financial. If you have this service, you can very easily take that $30,000 hit. It doesn't, as long as it's covered within the service, it's not going to be take that hit to you. You're going to get the best, the fastest recovery.
It's aligned too with what they originally were,
Exactly. And that's at least how I explain it to customers. How are you seeing other customers explain it? Like other operators or brokers explain it to their customer?
Yeah, same way. We get that a lot too, where it doesn't support everything. And so why kind of open that can of worms? Like, or yeah, someone's going to say, well, I'm not an important client to you. You wouldn't have done that before. So we talk through that too. That's the good thing about it too. If you decide to have it externally and do the opt-in, opt-out and they opt out, like you said, it doesn't mean that you can't do it for them. Obviously, with some of these clients that we work with that have been in business for quite some time, I mean, you're in the driver's seat. So if you have your top tier clients and you choose to not offer it because maybe that just makes things sticky or whatever, you don't have to do that. You can always do that. I mean, what cost it is, you can build that in.
Yeah. But I am seeing more and more operators offer it on top of their services. Like, is that, what's your conversation that you have with operators to say, all right, here's the service that you can offer, not just to retail customers, but also to the wholesale industry? What's that conversation like? Are you getting pushback? Or what are the questions that you usually get from like operators about the service and about how they can offer it?
Yeah, I mean, the operators, it's interesting because with my operator background, and I know we'll talk about a lot of this, we've been trying to make a conscious effort to work with the operators and educate them to make sure that everybody knows like we're huge advocates for them and just as much equal, if not potentially more, this product can really be a benefit to them. But we're actually getting a lot of operators that are coming to us unsolicited that either have heard of us or
been on the other side of a mechanical.
Exactly. Yeah. And saying like, okay, what can we do to work with you direct? And it's interesting because it's not just operators. I mean, we know a lot of operators out there have their own retail business, but the ones that are, they're coming to us as well. But a lot of them are like ones that are 80, 90% wholesale and just trying to figure out what they can do to differentiate themselves.
It takes a lot of heat off the operator too, right? It's like knowing that, hey, you took this mechanical insurance. Now, when it does happen, like mechanicals, it's not a great situation, but knowing that their client, their wholesale client got it. I mean, it's like, that's always a hard call to make and to take, but it's much less easier of a call on both sides, the operator and the retail customer. It's that when you make that call, hey, we're having an issue. I mean, 90% of the time it's out of their hands that, hey, I know we have this mechanical insurance. Let's go get that started, right? Just like from a stress standpoint, it just like kind of lowers that stress.
That's another thing that we get. And I know you referenced it. You get it a lot too. Like, or people will ask me like, but aren't the brokers trying to screw you over? Or aren't the operators jacking up their prices? Or if they have a floating fleet, aren't they just saying something's broke? Like, what's the bad? How are people trying to take advantage of the product and service? And quite frankly, like, I guess I was a little interested to see how that would go walking into this too. And
there's a lot of stories of people like, oh, pulling airplanes, or I saw that airplane fly after they told me it couldn't, or stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's genuinely not like that. I think for the people that buy the product, like, they see such value in it that they don't want to take it. I mean, taking advantage of something is just it's not going to be good for us. If we can't offer the product anymore, then they don't have it. And it's become such a integral part in a lot of our clients' everyday dealings, externally and internally. And then with the operators too, who wants to have unnecessary disruption? Like, it's not just the financial piece of it, but if an operator can offer this peace of mind that we feel we can help offer to all sides, they're all in for it. Even if they're not at the end of the day, the one retaining that actual flight, but also we can work with operators. We tell operators that all the time. Again, they don't take advantage of it, but an operator can recover themselves using at
a different cost, right?
At a different cost using our product. Now we have to make sure we do our due diligence.
Well, you're going to look at, are they, is it a fair market value?
Oh, this happened.
Oh, it's broke. It's going to be 10 grand more. Yeah.
Yeah. But with the operators, we'll always go back to them and say, hey, kind of this is what we're seeing. Do you want to do this?
Do you have an airplane in fleet that you can discount to a price that then that operator doesn't lose that revenue that they were going to lose before?
Yeah. I know with my old operator hat on, especially coming from a managed fleet, not in a bad way, but like it was almost worse sometimes when you went back to a wholesaler in a way and was like, oh, this happened. I can cover it, but I'm going to charge you $5,000 more. It's probably the same with the retail. Well, like, why don't you just do it then? But obviously there's a lot of different dynamics that you have to think through. So that a lot of times an operator would just give it back. It's almost easier to do that than to try to think that you're just covering your costs, but people are like, oh, now you're just trying to retain your margin or do this or.
Because it's true. I would be a little pissed. It says, oh, we got a recovery, but it's going to be $5,000 more. It's like, well,
just give it to me.
yeah. Why don't you just eat that? Why am I eating that $5,000? Why aren't you eating that?
And most of the time operators are eating a cost. It's just like,
they're coming to you at $5,000 is usually like because they ate $10,000 before that. Yeah. They're like, okay, I can't.
Yeah. What can I reasonably?
We also have an operator too that, without naming names, they don't know how to source. So we are their sourcing desk. Yeah. The other option for them would be to employ a full sourcing desk, which is not what their bread and basket is. So they come to us and we recover every trip.
How big is the team right now?
We're still on hands. So it's
we could use all four of our hands though.
Yeah. We're about 18. Like that, we were just at a company party and we made 18 reservations. So that's about where we're at.
That's exciting. With your current customers, how do you see people that are using the service really well? And what are some people that you think aren't using it to its full potential?
Consistency is key. I think a lot of us doing this for a long time, I think we can predict certain things, right? Like there's just certain things where we say something and all three of us would probably be like, oh yeah, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But then I think we could look at something else and all three of us would feel differently about it. I think at the end of the day, you really can't predict what's going to happen. Even the newest airplanes or tip-top operations, like things just happen. And so I think people that try to almost treat it like a trade type, market type thing, you just don't know. So we see that the people that work with us like on a more consistent basis, really it works out for them in the end.
Yeah.
I guess an adjustment to how people work with us. We switched to membership offering versus like ad hoc, which we think is really synonymous.
We added a membership offering, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you still do ad hoc.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll work with anybody in the industry that wants to work with us. But as we were growing and as we were scaling and taking a step back and trying to think about, okay, how can we keep leveling up on the offerings and benefits that we can give back to our clients? Naturally, it just made sense. It's just like any business, the partnership that you have consistently with people.
How does the membership work?
There's no fee or anything like that. It's a monthly minimum. So we have a membership agreement. It basically just memorializes your rates for a set period of time. So prior, it was, I think, an agreement that was called like a blanket agreement that really, the main thing of it just was essentially like put you on payment terms. There really wasn't anything in there kind of locking anything in. So the high level membership agreement will allow our clients for X period of time to lock in the rates, which is 2.5 to 4.5 by size category. And it's a monthly, basically minimum deposit. It gets applied to your support fees. So just using kind of like simple numbers, like if it's $1,000 minimum and you're booking $1,500 in support fees, you get invoiced $500 at the end of the month. If you only book $500 in support fees, it's the $1,000. That just.
And to be clear, there's very few clients that are at that threshold. Like we have 6-figure a month clients. We have
that are below the monthly threshold.
Yeah, I mean, that's very, very few. There'll be some guys that dance with us 1 month and they might put $8,000 and then you don't see them for Thanksgiving and they'll dip their toes in again. We're trying to just make it fair for buyers that are with us monthly. They shouldn't have the same fees. That just is fair to call them tier 1 clients, to call them whatever you want. But the guys that are with us throughout the year, another way that we need to affect change in our industry is be able to change rates for particular operators. So if we don't have a date stamp on when that contract ends, we can't live with some of these operators and the performance forever if it is increasing AOG rates. So to affect change on the industry, we need
maybe even the other way, right? For ones that are increasing AOG rates and ones that are performing really well too. Right?
Yeah, I mean we've we haven't changed our rates from the core since we started, which we talked about earlier.
Yeah. Why?
Somehow we got lucky. I mean, we were shooting from the hip on those first rates, right? And they landed at a pretty good spot. So
You're probably thinking like, all right, what would people pay? And what can we make a business out of that? We're not going to just lose money, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, our big goal in the next couple of years is to touch $1 billion in charter.
Wow.
So with that, our rates need to be good, fair. We have to be protected in a way too. We are a business, but
not a charity.
Not a charity. Feels like charity sometimes, lots of times. Peak, yes. We really want the rates to go down. How do we get rates to fluctuate down, not always up?
It's like the good driver rates, right?
Yeah, the driver rates, but like, it's not the client that's booking us. It goes back to the operators that performing the flights. Like brokers don't have any change on if an operator is going to perform that flight. The plane breaks, it breaks. Like as much as they love Dan Harris's trips, they can't fix your airplane day of. Like that's the sad truth. So we're not pointing this at you as a broker that buying it all with operators, but we can affect your pricing at the operator level. And hopefully that drives them to perform better too, which we've had many discussions where we've talked to operators and told them their numbers. We're very transparent. If any operator ever wants to know what their numbers are, call us, we'll tell you. And we know we're sample size. We're like the Gallup poll.
How many operators are calling you?
Quality ones call us a lot.
Yeah.
They want to know. I mean,
you would think that they would want to benchmark that, right?
Yeah. And also it's fairness to them to compare to what they might show, which is kind of a fun game too. Not every operator tracks their AOG percentage. In fact, when we started this company, we were trying to go to operators and find what is the AOG percentage.
Yeah.
Nobody had it because it's lumped into one basket of like failures.
Yeah. Yeah. They also don't track like if there's a delay either. Like if there's a delay.
Dude, a delay is a home run. That
and the flight still operates. Yeah. They look at that as, oh, we operated the flight. Yeah.
We both worked at Jetlinks and we put like, what were they called? Service improvement opportunities where like catering didn't show up or on time. Like that was a disruption. So that goes in one basket. And we've gone to every big firm to find out like what is their AOG percentage. And maybe they're tracking it more steadily now, but like before we started this, there was no map. So we had to guess and we threw the numbers up on the board. We've pivoted a little bit with some of our changes. Like we had to start changing rates for specific operators and perform. And that doesn't mean they stay there. They can improve, they come down.
And they know it.
Yeah.
Like we would never do something without going to an operator and showing them kind of what we're looking at.
How are those conversations?
They're all good. Honestly, everything before we send external, they have to know about it. I think that's the fairest way. So we will call an operator. I'll type out the email that we will be putting out. And I'm saying do you want see anything that needs to be changed?
Yeah.
It's normally an alignment. Oblivious to their misses and they're trying to fix it. And we hope they fix them. And we're there they're cheerleaders. We're wanting them to improve.
Yeah. You don't want to pay out every time they break, right?
Yeah. I mean, we don't, but we also call that marketing. That's our marketing spend. So when we have an AOG and we used to like, oh, that's a bad one.
Yeah.
But now we just kind of call it, well, that's our $100,000 of marketing today that we'll spend. So if you rephrase it that way, it kind of helps like center us and understand we're still doing okay. Erin's done a great job of going to some operators and going like, listen, your performance might be on the higher end of AOG percentages. Like give us some understanding what's going on and we can come back to the base and figure out if that's worth the risk, if they have some things that they're improving on internally. And then also like, hey, don't give us the AOG the day of.
The communication, right?
Like, let's try to keep this revenue on your fleet. So if about it 2 days ago, 2 days before the trip, like, let's try to keep it in fleet with you. And maybe you can move something around.
Yeah.
And you can still perform on that flight and we still pay the difference.
Yeah.
Because that is going to be less disruption for you as a customer.
Yeah.
But less loss for us as a same day AOG where we have to go find something.
I'm assuming that is a conversation that goes well, right?
Yeah, it goes really well. And the operators, I think it helps with Josh and I's background and our relationships. We are like have sat on both sides of the fences and have like a total appreciation and understanding for both sides. So it helps not coming in too strong on one side or another. But like the operators that we've worked with, so I talk to operators like every single day, but a handful of like the big kind of giants out there. We have Teams chats with them. We have Slack chats with them. And so when something happens, we're kind of talking to them immediately. And when I first came in, I was like, I wonder if the broker side is going to mind like me just inserting myself like right in there. But I think, I don't know, you could tell me like I think there's
Listen,
been an
I
appreciation.
couldn't have a Slack channel with 100 operators, right? I would love to have super direct access to their operations team and to be able to just ping them as quickly as possible, right? But I can't. Knowing that you guys can do that is like knowing that's fantastic.
And it's been good feedback too, because from an operator perspective, like an operator maybe not understanding how things are working, or maybe a little bit before, like, think about it. We've all got that, especially when an operator, it's like, when do I tell somebody that something is wrong? What's going to be the percentage of impact? And so they're trying to work things out. And so I think that that's been something too, where operators like, well, I gave an advisement and then all of a sudden 27 minutes later, the trip's taken or something like that. Working with the operators, we've been able to kind of insert ourselves and do that. And sometimes it's just, this can be MEL. Like sometimes some things do get lost in translation with the first initial call, and we're able to kind of go in there and we understand enough about things where we're like,
well, you're starting to probably know more about some airplanes and fixes than maybe some operators do.
There's a few tells when we see that number come up. We're like, just get plan B ready.
Yeah.
We're trying to work with 80% of our volume beyond 20% of the operators. Like every broker says they do, but like we want that to truly happen. So the more the operator works with us, the more that we are sending business back over to. Our booking ratio is probably going to be 0, but we're going out and getting the quotes, approving them to Dan and saying, okay, Ironbird booked that trip. And then we're fronting the difference. And that operator would not have got that trip probably should we not have been there. So operators are starting to understand that. So we're not wanting to take things away. She brought up a point about like, when should an operator tell you something's wrong? Something that we will be talking about Connect in April. Shout out to Charter Connect in April. But that will be a panel where we talk about like, how can you be transparent, but without the fear of getting your trip pulled?
Yeah.
Like
of losing that revenue.
Yeah. So it's not fair to the operator to be transparent to you and say, hey, plane just came back today. It's broke. Your trip's 3 days from now. We think we're going to get it fixed. Give us 24 hours. And then you pulled at ripcord. You're like, nope, I want out.
Which is like a natural response, right? When you hear a problem, you want to fix that problem immediately, right? So it's like, yeah, how do you balance that?
It's tough. I mean, that's an industry needs to come together and figure out like what that balance is, just like they came together with 100% non-refundable one ways. I mean, somebody had to get together and figure that out at one point. So now let's talk about that. But if you can be transparent, which is what we want the industry to be more of, you're going to have to make some changes at industry, not us, but like as an industry, how you can be honest to Dan, tell them things are happening without the fear that they're going to lose revenue.
Yeah. They're hard conversations.
But like people get it too. And in the relationships that we're fostering with these operators, like this happens countless times, like almost pretty much daily, where they don't have an answer in time and we have found something and we're like, we need to move on with this. And then like literally a few hours later, I'll get like a ping. It's like, we fixed it. It's like, great. You go to the top of the list for the next interruption that we have to work with.
Because you're going to get one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't even think of that, where like, it's like, all right, well, we're going to have another trip pretty soon coming your way now. We know that this airplane's kind of working.
And where do you need to get? And then we help facilitate that.
When you see, when you are managing these, when you see the mechanicals and AOGs happen, what do you see as the kind of downstream effects as when a client doesn't have the support versus has the support? What's the worst that could happen?
That balance between making it nominal, like so making it palatable that you can actually like still sell a trip and do it and make sense, but have it make business sense too. Just take like a big step back and think about that. How much time and money and investment goes into, and think about how many other people and other products are courting all the same clients, all the same pool of people, and what are they promising them, whether they can deliver it or not.
What's your cost to acquire that customer?
Yeah.
I mean, is that worth the $500 fee? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not.
Which I think tends to be one of the most difficult parts of running an aviation business is the customer acquisition. It's very difficult. It's expensive in the space. So protecting that And yeah, it's that customer, but like you said, it's a small group of people. So when you've performed poorly for this customer, like they talk, and it's like, all right, they're friends now. Now downstream, it's like, all right, now I've got 3 or 4 people now. Or it's the other way around, right? It's all right, we had this mechanical issue, we don't have the service, and now we're losing 10 grand.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's one or the someone's absorbing it. And I think just that back office support that we have too. So if someone doesn't have this support, not only obviously there's a huge financial piece of it, but there's sanity, time, like your client experience of going through that experience, which can be really tough. So we hear that a lot from people too that have just their own sourcing teams. And it's like, well, I don't need that part of it. And it's like, well, but you might. I mean, what if someone's on PTO and then their cousin's wedding, or it's 2 a.m. your
it's
time?
those guys
or,
that end up using it the most.
Yeah.
Like they always come in like, I'm the best sourcer, which we're not saying you're not, but you're not chasing the bottom dollar on a trip too. Like we're finding you the quality. We know your standards, and we're going to pay the delta. So let us do it.
What's the worst AOG you guys have experienced from a cost standpoint?
I mean, they're 6-figure reimbursements, and I don't think anybody out there would
Take a
do that.
6-figure hit. Yeah.
I'm sure there's somebody, and Erin and I've talked about that on the flight over here, like what company would actually, or individual take that. I'm sure there's companies that have taken that, but very, very few. And
for very few customers.
Very few. Yeah, it's a
few companies for even smaller amount of actual customers.
And we can't predict what's going to happen to whom and when. So
yeah, and so if you're a small broker, you can't take a 6-figure loss. Like it's just, that wouldn't make financial sense. You can't do it. But if you're going to grow and you're small now, but you're going to be mid-range tomorrow, and we absorb that, maybe we're helping you get there. So I mean, we don't even know what to call our members, customers, partners, all that, but we truly feel like we're part of their brokerage, and we want them to succeed. Obviously, everybody wins on that deal. So we're going to take big numbers.
Yeah.
Do we want big numbers? Of course not. But we want them to get a win. We want them to retain their client. We want them to have massive success. And as businesses grow, I'm kind of speaking this to an existence right now and premature on it, but like what we look like 2 years from now is not the same as what we're going to look like today. So we have some assets that others might not have access to for in fractionals, GRPs, things like that. But maybe 2 years from now, those are wins for us on AOGs. Like right now, they're only losses, but maybe in 2 years from now, we have a fleet. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but we will have things that others don't have access to, so that we can really elevate our customer experience.
When you looked at, well, how much did you spend last year on recoveries?
In the $4 to $5 million range.
And when you were looking at that, how did you get to, all right, maybe we need to buy a fraction? Like when you were looking at that, what brought you to be like, okay, we're going to buy a fraction to help with this?
That one kind of evolved due to a partnership. That fractional provider that you're talking to has other brands that we support, and we have a very strong relationship with those guys. So that evolves pretty quickly into the fractional. We want to buy more of those.
Yeah. What's that like when you look at recovery?
I mean, they have its purpose and they don't have its purpose. Like 10 hours is their call out times, right? So same day AOGs, that's probably not going to be the thing. And we are a good partner to them. We don't want them to have all the crap. So like, we know that that's not something that's in their business model either. If it's 24 hours out, it's kind of like right that juicy spot. Those have been hugely helpful, and we want to get more. We do have another one with it's a light jet with a smaller company as well. So we have 2 different companies with fractionals, and we'll keep growing that. Our fractionals are great because we don't want to get in the business of operating airplanes. Like we've been there, done that. We've all been there, done that, and that would detract from everything we're focused on now, trying to figure out how do we breathe from this weight of an airplane that we own. We've got to look at everything, fractionals, quarter shares to half shares to full ownership that we send to an operator to maintain and run, not us ever getting the 135 space.
Coming from someone who has control issues with the whole like sourcing and what do you have access to that we don't have access to and all that kind of stuff. I think we don't have it all figured out, but we're continuing to win over people's trusts and through deployment of technology and just a lot of processes, and we're adding to the team and really trying to target relevant industry experience and the right fits and all that kind of stuff. But what I've noticed is just I've already seen in 6 months clients that have really big sourcing teams, and they are great, but just like continue to let go a little bit and ride along, like ride shotgun with us and let us drive. Another big differentiator with the membership is we'll adhere to all of your DNUs, and we truly want to be an extension of that. We're never going to jam anything down anybody's throat that this doesn't make sense, obviously, too, because we come with a lens of getting it.
Have you ever fought against the DNU list? Say, hey, this operator's DNU, maybe you should.
Will help. I mean, that's a good question. We've had some people ask us, like, we have this DNU, is this one that like we should consider? Yeah, like reconsider.
Maybe they just had two bad experiences back to back. It was kind of.
I mean, I think most of us, to me, there's like two sets of a DNU list: safety, and then there's like a service element. And one operator, all three of us could have had different. Like they could be my favorite, but something really bad could have happened. And so, and it changes. It changes a lot. And so these DNU lists, I know from a lot of people, become this like stagnant list that it just often gets added to and not people taken off.
Well, I think from like a data standpoint, you've seen operators' performance go up and down, right? And like how often does that change from someone that was a bad performer that now is maybe average or above average?
I think it's peaks and valleys. I mean, you rarely stay really crappy where you go out of business. Like,
yeah, I mean,
that's I mean, when I say really crappy, like we'll talk like 20 to 30% AOG rates. Like that's how crazy it is.
And there are operators that have gotten there.
Yeah, you can't stay there forever. You're going to be bankrupt pretty quick. So they either improve or get out. But then we'll see like a 3% change in an operator is really dramatic over a short time. So we'll see that too. I mean, there's floating fleet operator that was our highest AOG percentage for a long, long time. They're not there though. Like they've gotten better. They've changed some of their fleet and gotten better. So, and we are the first to tell others about them. We don't want to be just the negative people. We want to tell the positives.
Maybe when we go into the data, we can kind of start looking at the positive. Erin, you were talking about having a sourcing team riding kind of shotgun with your team. How do you explain like your service and your team as an extension to someone else's team? Like you're not just a service provider, you're really kind of working together. Like how do you explain that to other operators or brokers?
Yeah, so it's really collaborative. I mean, the biggest thing we don't want to be doing is like tripping over each other and calling the same people. Like all of us have been a recipient on the other end of the phone. And sometimes we'll hear like from people that maybe we don't work with a ton, like this trip's being shopped.
Yeah.
It's not being shopped.
Yeah. We're working together. Yeah.
So it's pretty simple, but pretty effective. So if you work with us and AOG happens, you get you've seen it. And we've evolved it a little bit over the last handful of months, hopefully for the better.
Luckily, I don't see a lot of them. So
good.
It's been a little since I've seen one of the Google Sheets, which is good.
Yeah, it's a Google Sheet and it's got all the information there so that, I mean, obviously we do a day prior process where we make sure we have the tail. Like, obviously we all know passenger count is huge, right? A lot of the times quotes just default to the maximum capacity of the plane. It's like 8 people probably aren't going to be on a CJ3 right now. So making sure we have all that the day prior, regardless of that's important to us. But yeah, well, you'll see all the details and it's in real time. You can see everybody that we've reached out to if we're waiting, if they're not available, if they're available, any notes. There's a section where our clients can put like, call all these people. We do have a lot of data and we are making a lot of internal investments, but one huge investment we made was hiring a CTO who started mid-October. We want to be as seamless to work with as possible. And so on onboarding, of course, we ask our clients like, okay, well, who don't you use? Who do you like to use? But again, that becomes static and we all get busy. So we have a lot of data that's like, here's all who Ironbird uses a lot in this area. So we're doing a lot of internal stuff so that those can like bubble to the top so that we can.
Well, you see all my bookings anyways, right? So you probably get a good idea of like, all right.
Yeah.
On in the West. Yeah.
In California, like out West or something like that.
Which is kind of fun. This is just a sidebar story, but like some people will say, I don't use that operator. Well, we also have record of who you use. So we've had that happen where like, oh, I won't take that. I will not use that operator. And then we'll look at like 30 days ago, they used that same operator. So you can't have that story to tell. But that happens a lot. Not a lot, very, 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 very rarely, but
yeah, our internal, when all the team members hear me say this, they're gonna be like, but like our big word of the month is informed customer service. And so I think that that's how we gain the trust of our clients of attacking or going off and sourcing something just as you would, because it's informed. We're not bugging operators to do something if they don't have the assets that make sense to do the recovery and those types of things. So as we continue to fine tune that, I think that that's how we become like, I don't know, the proof is in the pudding. Like we can say all these things on an onboarding call, but until a client gets on and experiences this and sees it, and that's something that actually we hope for. So
we don't hope for a mechanical, but
no, but like just
you want to show to
see our ability.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on the flight.
That's where you show your value, right? That's
really, if we don't have mechanicals, we don't have a business.
Yeah.
So like we do, like we don't run from them like you would think we would run from them.
Yeah, we recently onboarded a couple of like just really great brokerages that I think one was like a little skeptical, not in a bad way, but they were just because they've been doing this for a long time. They're full of great professionals and all that kind of stuff. And they were just trying to work out like, I don't know, how does this work? We kind of have our own kitty if something goes wrong that we're able to deploy. And I don't know, that maybe this just is noise. And so something happened to them really disruptful, like financially and bandwidth wise over Thanksgiving. So they called and like, okay, actually we're ready. We're going to try this out. And I think it was like the second or so flight they had supported, something happened and they were able to see it. And we like that. We root for that because not because we wish anything bad upon ourselves or anybody else, but it's like, we want people to be able to see that this is like an actual true helpful service.
Yeah. You came on, it's been 6 months. You mentioned you hired a CTO. From a business standpoint, obviously those are pretty big hires. Where are you trying to bring the business from like a people standpoint? What's the idea with hiring Erin and a CTO? What was the idea behind that?
Well, it was needed. Very much needed. You go through, when you start, it was me and one other guy. So you go through all the pivots of figuring out questions. Now the questions have started to calm down. There's not as many questions. You're answering things. There's no playbooks. We talk about this all the time. There's no playbooks for what we've done. So there's no way to plagiarize a business. So like
there's no ChatGPT answers.
No, I mean, I do go there a lot. They provide some pretty good answers, but we have no playbook. So we've learned through the fire. Our first couple of years, I've been outspoken on this. We didn't have external clients. We used internal friends in the business to test it before we put it out there to really get waxed. So now we've consistently had 100% year-over-year growth. So with that becomes a more mature business than what it was. So when you get to a mature business, you need mature people. Founders kind of fall out of the space. Not many founders like continue to run their companies because it outgrows them. Like that's going to happen. Erin obviously was a great hire. Everybody knows Erin. It was my wish list hire. It was, I didn't think it would happen. She can tell a story later on how it happened, but that was a huge hire. Our biggest hire before that was our CFO. And we're on the 1 year mark there, who has been just an absolute godsend. Like without him, we wouldn't be anywhere. We call him the brain, but he's not only just a brain, he loves to be in the ops too. So he loves to learn. He's very tech savvy.
Marketing background.
He's
really,
owned some
quite
companies.
the Renaissance man.
He's got beautiful, long, luscious hair.
He does.
And a mustache and an earring. It's just
lives
awesome.
In Seattle. Yeah, he's very cool.
Very cool. Shout out, Peter. And then Peter introduced us to one of his friends that he had worked with in the past too, who is now our CTO, who is way overqualified. Erin and I don't know what he speaks. It's like abbreviation languages.
Why do you think you need a CTO?
It's our next iteration of growth.
Yeah. I mean, we can't scale without that because we can will all these things. Like we can do all these things, but like with the scale, I mean, like there's only so many humans that can be grabbing all these pieces and staying ahead of things.
We all talk about AI and aviation, right? Like everybody, you're one of the few that actually implements it though. Like a lot of people want to use the word AI. because they use ChatGPT. That's not using AI in your business. So we brought Sam who's our CTO, to the MBAA conference in October, and he was just flabbergasted by how few AI booths were there, because every other show you go to, it's like over AI. I'm not saying that AI is not being used in our space, it is, but like not to a rapid scale like other industries. So we are huge proponents of AI from Sam's perspective of not like limiting headcount, it's enabling headcount. So we are not replacing people. We're not buying where we think we can lower headcount. We have a budget for a dramatic headcount growth for us in percentage wise this year. And that AI is only a tool to enable them to speed up things. So we're debuting our first SAM product, which we called ART. It's our internal operating system. This Monday is our first kickoff of it. But like we can go from even quoting a trip, which takes anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how much information is in there. We can now take that down to 5 minutes. That doesn't sound like a crazy thing, because in a lot of ways we should be able to auto quote, in which we ultimately will. But
we'll be there by the end of the year. I think 30 to 40% will be auto quoted by the end of this year.
Yeah, I mean, ours comes from just information. So if you get a PDF but doesn't have the whole story, our AI will read not only the PDF, but the body of the email, bring all the information, give scores on probabilities if that's right. And then the human still has to go in there to make sure it's right. But it speeds everything up, and we don't have to go to fields or anything like that. And
well, what's cool about that too is like we're not giving a task to our client. So sure, we could be like, okay, the only way to work with us, Dan, now is to fill out this thing. Like we're just taking, because sometimes we'll get PDFs, or some, all different things, right? And so it's like taking what we know, everybody's on the go and on the fly, and so it's not,
especially with
making more work.
ASAPs. Like with ASAPs, you're getting an email, hey, I can't do this time, I can do this time, or you're requesting it for 4 p.m., but you're getting all these different times and dates. Like,
yeah, I think we're talking more auto quoting on our side to you. Like when you request a quote, it seems like it shouldn't take that long to get your quote back.
But no, I would assume not. You've got a price, you've got an airplane type, and that's
there's, as we go to the membership models, not everybody has the same, because if you're not a member, we have an ad hoc pricing.
Because there's different performance from the wholesale industry. Got it. Yeah.
So
right.
I mean, and that's a big thing when you talk about deployment with the membership is if you want to be able to work this in, I mean, if you're working with us at ad hoc, you're now waiting for a price so that you can figure out what you're doing, versus if your membership, it's giving you so much more ability to work it into because otherwise with the ad hoc, I mean, it's looking at dates, it's looking at routing, it's looking at the price it's supporting, it's looking at the vendor.
Maybe vendor and then airplane type within that vendor's fleet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Location, all sorts of fun stuff.
Also developing APIs for us to go out to other companies, which is critical for our growth, and seamless ability to book. Our AOG predictability tool that we're working on that is not there yet, not close to being there yet, but we'll see there. We'll see if the science works to see if it can get a great grading score. But like the goal is be like, okay, it's green as it's high probability of working, orange being that, pay attention, and red, like everybody needs a plan.
I mean, there's so many factors, right? Hours, when the maintenance is done, but like at the very simplest thing, you can at least start to track hours. All right, this airplane has done X amount of hours in the last X amount of time, right? Cycles like those, as you start to kind of build and you can layer on more. As you get more information, you layer more and more information.
Yeah, the data, it's funny because we also see the biggest indicator when it's not flying. Like, because then we all know the gremlins are when it doesn't fly.
Mm-hmm.
So if the airplane, if I get another email or a message about, well, this plane hasn't flown in 5 days, like our team sometimes is built to believe, not understand why it's not flying, which we all know pilots aren't there. Like it's scheduled maintenance time, like plane just need a break.
Yeah. When you got the call from Josh, or maybe when your husband told you that Josh called, what were your initial thoughts?
We all worked together at JetLinks. Josh and my husband had worked closer together and been kind of closer personal friends. But he called my husband first, and then Jay just said, Josh is going to call you, pick up when he does. I said, okay. And I did. And Josh said, don't hang up. He just went on, and I just listened. And yeah, I mean, I've been really fortunate. So I'm on my 23rd year in this industry, and this is my 4th company in 23 years. And so, and one company was 1 year between at CTP Aviation, which was great out in California.
Shout out to the guys, CTP,
Yep,
they're a good
and
group,
gave
Craig
me-
and those guys.
It was my first true operator experience. But I started my career at Sentient. I'm originally from Massachusetts, and I knew nothing about aviation. And after 23 years, I probably should know a lot more about planes. I can't pick them up out of the sky, what they are. But I made myself phonetic alphabet cards. I didn't even know what Alpha, Bravo, Charlie is.
They didn't teach you that in Braintree?
I was trying, head of the class. I was trying to get forward. Yeah, I was there for 5 years, and then recently just at Jetlinks for 15, which was just been so lucky to work at kind of two industry giants and be there through their tremendous growth. And so
it's for similar but different businesses. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I've just always been this we talk about like a vibe check. I've always added to my team through vibe checks. I always say it helps certain roles do need aviation experience, depending on what they are, but you can train anything but work ethic. And just after talking to Josh, it just something about it felt right enough to have another conversation with the other co-founder, Tom, which just went really well. And I took a step back and
very different conversation with Tom probably than Josh.
Yeah. And candidly, I mean, Josh and I have always had a ton of mutual respect for each other, but I think I said to you, I'm like, this is Erin Donnelly. You want to work with me every day? Because I'm sure I probably gave you a hard time.
Like I said earlier, when we told the team we were hiring her, I said that she would be busting their balls. And I said, but she would be busting mine more than that. She does things so much better than I could ever do, like employee reviews. Not my thing. It's her thing. She's great at it.
Manage your people.
Manage your people. She was my one and only wish. And luckily she said yes.
Well, yes, you're being too kind, but same. There was something I thought that was really cool about Josh approaching me with like this and knowing everything that he says. And like my husband said, everything that Josh touches turns to gold.
Not true. That's my wife.
But no, it was, I don't know, it felt right and it was exciting. I think I was very happy at my current employment and everything, but I don't know, something about being able to, I've done a lot of different things in 23 years, but the one thing that's been consistent is I've always worked on the buy and sell side on the wholesale. And so being able, this role was kind of a bit of a dream come true because being able to truly make a difference to both sides and sit in between them and connect them and talk to them every day. It was really an exciting opportunity.
What's it been like for the first 6 months?
It's been really good.
How much of what you thought it was going to be, has it been different or?
I think it's been an adjustment for me. Having Sam as a CTO is going to help. When I had to Google how to do email signatures or something, it's just, I guess I took advantage of how many, when you have a larger corporation and there's that many companies, but there's something really fun about it too. And
the kind of startup life is a little different.
Yeah, it's been so fun. Just our director of business development, Rob Clipper, who a lot of y'all talk to, is great. And was really fun just popping up on the Zoom calls of people that I literally haven't spoken to in over 15 years. And then people that I talked to 2 months ago. So that's been really great. And I think I'm kind of a weedy person. So I've been in the weeds a lot, but it's really been to try to help assess the foundation so that when we go out and talk to people, we can deliver on what we are saying. That's really important, right? And so it's been a lot, I guess. I spent a lot of internal time. I haven't done as much external, maybe as I wanted to or thought I might do, but it's, again, only been 6 months. So.
You talk about 100% growth year over year. So you're hiring when you're in, you'll probably take over most of this, thankfully, from Josh. When you are thinking about hiring this year, what are the people you're looking for? Who do you think has been a really good fit for the team that you think you'd love to bring more people like that?
Yeah, I mean, it does go to, I think, that vibe check. It's a work hard, play hard. We don't have everything figured out. So if somebody wants to come in and have an exact playbook and an exact checklist of what to do and not is going to get frustrated if we live in a little bit of gray and we have to collaborate and all that stuff, right, they're not going to be happy in that environment because there's obviously things that we've locked there was a lot of processes and stuff in place. I do have to say, I just think that that was there was groundwork. It just was tweaking it to kind of.
Yeah. So it's almost like you want the people that are the builders that can come in and take a look and say, hey, maybe we can do this or do this.
Yeah,
instead of people that are just kind of like, oh, the rule followers, like, oh, here's my process.
Right.
And here's the
You're
things.
going to get really frustrated because we don't have everything figured out.
You want the people that are creative thinkers that want to solve interesting problems and find new ways to do things. And the people that invigorates them from a work. Like if you want to come and solve problems and be in a growing business that's doing something no one else is doing, like those are probably the people that work really well, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to like literally see the results of your actions or lack of actions every day. I mean, and it's okay. Some people just want more stability and that's okay. But it's like, you do something or you adjust something, you dig in. And now all of a sudden, like, okay, we just, instead of taking a $20,000 gap, now we're only at 7. Or you kind of don't do something and then we look at it and you made that mistake. Well, then we'll just learn from that. We try to there's a lot of autonomy. And I think that that's important. Collaboration is huge for me. I can't do anything in a vacuum. Like, and I sit alone in my basement in Atlanta. And I know we're also trying to figure out, we're hiring, and I had somebody ask me, they're like, is this position based in Scottsdale? And I was like, good question. Okay.
We're trying to
figure it out.
So admittedly, like we're an international company with probably 90% of it domestic US, but summer months, Europe is hot. We have boots on the ground in Europe, in London. Most of our people reside in Scottsdale. Erin is in Atlanta. It makes sense do we do an office in Atlanta? Do we have both coasts covered?
CTOs in Oregon.
Oregon, yeah. And I hate remote. So
because you're a bad manager, probably.
If I was I am a bad manager, but like you would think you wouldn't want to be around people. I do like to be around people.
I don't like remote. I think I'm old school, but I think the way I grew up in the industry, in office, I learned so much, and like you just ingest so much for being in office. So
tone of text and emails come off as like argumentative when they're not implied.
I go to a co-working office every day to be around people. That's just like what I like, because not only can I bounce things off other people and network, I just like being around the busyness. It just kind of makes me feel, and that's probably why I always love going to New York, the busyness of it. But I think there's a lot of things lost when people are virtual, not in office. There's so much more to gain, I think, from being in office, but I know younger generations, especially ones that started their working career out of office, may not feel that way. But I disagree. I'm a very much in office person.
Yeah.
It's tough. And then you have, if everybody was in Scottsdale, we're always going to be primarily based in Scottsdale, but we're going to have other locations. And the problem with the 24-hour clock is, how do you get good hires working graveyard shifts?
Yeah,
so that's impossible.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have high quality people, you got to have locations that work for them.
Yeah. I had a call earlier today where Charter Brokerage had people in Australia. They had an Australia office. Actually wasn't on purpose. They had someone that had a work visa, got let go from their pilot job, and then couldn't get another one, and then like knew that they probably had to leave or they were going to get their door kicked down.
Well, Asia's one that we're looking at because the way the time clock, the clock works, means ahead of us.
Yeah, back coverage.
Even though there's not like a ton of Asians in business, but like it's more just protection of the clock.
Yeah. This is going to be my favorite part of the conversation here, the numbers, the AOG numbers, which I think a lot of people are really interested in. If we look back at 2025 and we start to look at the numbers, can we break down the worst performing airplanes of 2025?
Yeah, but by type?
Unless you want to, if you've got to buy a specific tail, please. Yeah, you can tell us. I know you have it, but we're not going to share.
We have it.
Yeah, but we're not going to share it.
So yeah, from a aircraft type perspective, the higher than average type, so Citation 10 is about 5 points or so more interruption than the average.
And what's the average? And
Really
people always ask me,
vary.
what percentage am I getting? Actually, that's one of the biggest questions I get when people look at the service is, what's the percentage of a mechanical?
Yeah.
I tell them single digits. Is that the safe thing to say?
Yeah, it's about 10. I mean, we say 10%. Like one out of 10 flights is going to have, Yep. A
I think we
mechanical
landed
disruption.
like high 8s or low 9s or something
Yep.
like that for overall averages
Yep.
in 25.
Yeah. I mean, managed fleets are like, it's like you can bucket them. Managed fleets have their own scale, and floating fleets just naturally have their own scale.
So if call it 10% is the average, managed fleets are a couple points below, maybe.
Correct.
Floating fleets are a couple points
like low,
above.
Low teens.
And then of that, the Citation 10 is the highest percentage of all of those.
That's what we saw in 2025. And then the G4 SPs would be next, and then the Excels. That's what we saw for the higher than average.
Yep.
Those bubbled up. Now, what people are placing support on, just to kind of give that, the top 3 types are Citation 10,
Smart.
Challenger 300,
Mhm.
and the Excels. So I guess it kind of shows like the G4 SPs was not really in that higher, because then you go after that and it's the Phenom 300s or CJ3. So then as the commonly put support on. So the 10s and the Excels are kind of like in both buckets.
Yeah.
They're the top 3, what people are putting percent on, and higher than average AOG disruption.
One thing that I found very interesting, we were talking about this before with the Citation 10, that it's not just the airplane type, it's who's flying it and who's maintaining it, right? And of that Citation 10 bucket, there is a Citation 10 operator that is, I don't know what the best way to phrase it, they're better than everybody else, right? If you look at this one Citation 10 operator, how much better are they at operating Citation 10s than all the other Citation 10s in the marketplace?
Well, I would say let's call them out because they deserve it. And that's Baker. They operate them very, very well.
Yeah.
So if you take that, what is that, 13, 14% AOG rate, and if you take Baker's numbers out of that, because that is inclusive of theirs, where does that fall? It's in the 20s.
20% if you took Baker out. So that pushes Baker down below that 10%. I mean, Baker's almost operating these airplanes like a managed fleet performance. How do they do it?
Ask Tim.
Shout out to Tim.
I mean, we have ideas. I mean, I think it's pretty clear on how he's doing it, and it's a good way to do it. But performance speaks. I mean, when he actually and I had a call, and we don't know each other that well. So Tim, hello. He was talking and telling me his numbers, and I basically said no chance.
Yeah. BS. Yeah.
And I still don't think they're as good as what he told me, but they are better than I anticipated by far. So he's doing a great job.
And I think everyone thinks, oh, floating Citation 10s, there must be not performing well. And it's great to hear that, yeah, there are some people not performing really well on this floating Citation 10s, but he's the absolute opposite of what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, and we want to continue to call out like the wins and highlight that. So I wasn't part of it last year, but at Charter Connect last year, Solaris was named the most reliable fleet.
Shout out Solaris.
Of 2024. And I know this year at Charter Connect in April as well, we'll be revealing that for 2025 as well. So,
and that number going back was not rehearsed, so this could be off, but I remember being in the 98% range.
Wow.
Yeah.
That Solaris was in the 98% range.
And that's 2024.
Of your sample size.
Of our Gallup poll.
Yeah. But like, that's pretty much, yeah, you've got a large enough sample size.
We won't put the numbers in there if they don't meet certain lag requirements.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, there might be an operator shooting 100%, but like we've got 20 lags. Like that's not gonna do anything.
When someone calls you with a recovery issue, what's the average lead time that you guys are getting? Like, what are the percentages of day of, and then what are the percentages of before that?
Really, like 50% or so is happening the day prior. The other 50% is going to be made up of multiple days ahead or day of. So that was something that I guess I just assumed would happen too, that everything would be this like day of hair on fire thing. And it's really not the case. Day prior or 3 days out, like that day prior, those are really like, I think when most of the things are happening, they're landing, they're getting the write up, the operator is doing the right thing, advising on the situation. So of course we still get ones day of, but it's mostly the day prior or a couple days out.
That's great. I mean, those are very different situations. The day of before.
Yeah, I mean, you're still on a potential. You got to hit it just right if something's available, depending on the day. So you're still dealing with a more limited availability market, but it gives us all a little bit more breathing room. And I think since I've been here, unless it's been a client decision, if we're dealing with the day before, unless it's like one thing we dealt with the calendar day that it's scheduled, like, does it ever spill into the next calendar day? So obviously, sometimes like logistically, if we're dealing with, one of the ones we dealt with was a 10 p.m. Van Nuys to Hawaii flight, and it broke at departure time with clients there. So possibly we could find something, but at that point, everyone's human. Like the client just like, I'm going to go, whether it's a hotel or home or something, and we'll look at this tomorrow. So, but most of the time, I mean, the day before, like, we're finding the on-time departure, because that's our promise to do that if we have.
Yeah.
What do you think?
And we had echo that, but like the TFR during the holiday season was terrible. Venezuela airspace that got shut down. It was impossible. All the Caribbean stuff that was going. I mean, we had one flight that we had a recovery for, got them out same day. They departed and had to return back because they couldn't get out. I mean, they just wouldn't let them through the airspace. So those things are like, out of control.
What do you think is the lead time that you guys see that there's a good chance of an on-time recovery? What's the minimum lead time that you see? Like, all right, if we get 6 hours, there's a good chance of on-time recovery.
I was gonna, I mean, it just depends a little bit on the time of day, but just because we know we're kind of out of the time when the majority of people doing rolling rest. So a lot of the operators out there, rightfully so, unless they're very well staffed and are able to do it, are setting duty times at 8 or 9 a.m. local, and then you run out of some options. But I mean, like, if something's coming in the morning for the same day and it's 5-6 hours, we're finding
pretty much on time.
I mean, unless it's out of a really remote location or something like that, we're finding on-time options. And we work with it. So even if a client has specific requirements, but it's a time-sensitive thing, we kind of offer it. It's like, okay, you want to meet with this, but it's 2 hours, or do you want to go with this? And some people may want to wait.
They'll take a downgrade or something like that to be a better on time.
We'll always offer, like you said, we're never going to force something that's not like an equal to or better type.
Yeah, but you'll offer it if
But
there's some kind of benefit.
Throw it on there. Exactly. Yeah, we can't match the seat colors and the carpet colors and all the little tiny nuances of the original aircraft. And we're upfront about that. We want to cross that bridge at support contract time. So a lot of times if someone's coming to us and they're like, hey, I need 5 years or newer, or this has to have Starlink or something, depending on the thing, we'll just kind of go back to them and be like, we're not magicians. So it's all about being able to like actually deliver on what we promise. And sometimes it just comes down to the fact that's like, okay, you want this super mid, not a 10. It has to have 8 club chairs. It has to, like, let's think about this in reality. Like,
it's probably where your
find that?
fraction comes into play a little bit, where it's like, all right, you're getting higher quality airplanes. It helps a little bit more from a recovery standpoint.
I think it's also important to note that fractionals have trouble too during peak season.
Yeah.
So like we get this a lot when a plane is busted on the 26th of December and the client won't take the 40-minute delay. Like if you're a fractional owner and you've paid $1 million to buy that share, you got a 5-year commitment, they have a plus minus 3 hour buffer in there. We also saw some times where we got moved a day as a fractional owner. So there's about 7 days. Our industry is just not, we're just not.
No one's immune to anything.
Yeah. We can't build an industry around 7 days, right? Yeah. I remember you telling me that.
Yeah. We had that conversation, like literally 7 days. And I mean, 7 days it's just hell.
Yeah.
I think brokers need to let their customers know what that expectation is. And I know you said when we talked, like you try to push them to the shoulder day, or an early morning departure is always better than afternoon departure on those days, which we found that sometimes that's not true. In the early morning, it's still bad. We had a fractional that was G450 and it had to get forced downgrade on a peak day. So if the fractionals are telling that story, like brokers and operators need to have a real conversation with their clients of like,
this is the day.
This is what's going on.
But I think that it probably goes into that data sharing piece of what we talked about, of like, you guys have this data, right? And what are some creative ways you guys are starting to think about to bring the informed consumer, right? When you guys think about, all right, you guys are collecting, you have 4 years of data and you're getting better at collecting it and organizing it. What of that data do you want to start sharing with people or building products off of that would be beneficial to help become a more informed consumer.
So I think the data will be driven by what our customers ask,
What the industry asks for.
what they want, because I think companies start to feel like they have all the answers and like we think we know what you guys want, and then we start saying, okay, we designed all this beautiful data, and then you're like, this is useless. So I think as we go deeper into 26, we start asking those questions and let our partners decide for us on what they want to see. We've discussed this, where do we show them where they should only put AOG support on? The real answer is there is no way to show that. Like, there's no data point that says, besides some specific tells, which we all can agree, like we know those are haunted. We get calls from clients all the time where they're like, and they do 70% of their book with us, and then that 30% they think that they can predict some things. So over peak, I'll get a call from a very large brokerage in the 150 million range, and they'll call and they're like, hey, can you help me out? The one trip I thought this would be for sure, it's tech. Can you help me? Is there any way you can help source something for us? And we'll help, but like financially, we're not committed to that. But it's impossible to predict, like still to this day.
Well, for us too, I mean, candidly, some of our toughest months when it comes to our gross profit loss on what we're seeing there, it's not necessarily peak. It's those shoulder months that, because as an operator, and we did it at Jetlinks, I mean, you get to do a lot of planning. Like everybody's getting, when August, when it's really pretty soft, you have to balance it out. But it's like, we saw like our best performing months in October. Like people were like, I'm ready to go. And I mean, like October is historically it's like the most consistent busy month that this industry has. And so versus like in August where it's soft, so there's less availability, but the things that are available need to fly. So the pricing's lower. Those are the types of things.
Those are things that are like learned through this. Like shoulder season is tough. And now like this season right now, we're in the same kind of shoulder season where planes have gone heavy through peak. Now they got to get back to the shop. They got to go fix the things that are gremlins. So pricing goes down. So you're buying it cheaper. And now the availability is a little bit limited. So we're chasing a cheaper price for a smaller market of available airplanes. So there is not a time in the year where, and I'm legitimate and not selling this as like trying to buy it for 365 with us, but like there's not a time where we're like, that's our month. That's the month we're going to like be healthy.
I'm assuming from your business, you've got wins and losses business. That's the type of business you're in, right? You've got, hopefully, as long as you're making a little bit of money, you can kind of keep the business going. Hopefully it's not a little, but as long as you're not trying to gouge people, you're just trying to have a profitable business and provide a great service for customers, right?
Yeah. I mean, we need this to make sense for people. And that's a thing I say a lot too, when some of the tenured clients in the last couple of months, some people be like, well, there's changes over there. What does that mean? And it's like, well, it's not, it's just all in the spirit of like transparency and being able to deliver and stand behind kind of what we're trying to do. Like we've got to be able to
kind of equate it to like, you might have started a brokerage and you book a trip with your client through text message, and that's your thumbs up means booked, right? And then as you grow, you're going to have now have somebody have cemented contracts. It's kind of where we're at. We need, and it's protecting them more than it is us. Like we're saying, these are the terms that we're going to fix these rates for every operator. So if there's an operator that comes to the table that starts having 30% AOGs, your rate's not going to change through that time frame because you're fixed there. So, and we also believe that members that book with us deserve better pricing than ad hoc. That's just the simple truth.
Like you said, they want to dance with you all year, right? They're dedicating their time and energy to you. You want to kind of give that back to them.
It makes it a more fun experience for both sides too, because you get to know each other. Like now, when you get a call from somebody you've never spoken to and you have to re-explain like what's going on, like
how it works.
When we talk to Austin with your team, it's like it's a smooth experience because we have mutual respect. We know where you're coming from. He knows what we can deliver and we cannot deliver. And then we figure it out. Yeah.
Where do you think CFX goes in the next 2 years?
We just had our state of the company was it yesterday?
Yesterday.
Was. So we start, our goals this first quarter is we really cement our vision internally for our team so that they understand where we are going and where we want to go. I don't like to drive it with numbers, but like currently our driver is a number until we cement that vision elsewhere. But we want to touch $1 billion in charter, and that will be there before you know it. And that's a biggest KPI for our growth indicator. And then that we're not stopping at $1 billion. I mean, the marketplace is industry that's anywhere from 20 to 40 billion, depending on what people say and what robot you ask. It's a big ocean out there of prospective clients. And we have a lot of the big companies, but we have a lot of the big companies that are not with us. And when we first built, I was on this pod talking to you, I don't know, 2 years ago, whatever it was. When we built this, we thought it was for small mom and pop brokers. And then this whole pivot of having big companies buy early on was the early adopters was earth shattering. Like we didn't expect that. So we still think this is a product for mom and pops. And like the big firms can afford it, but they want to protect their balance sheets and have guides that are going to drive them for each quarter bonus and getting the numbers where they want to be. But like mom and pops just can't afford these $20,000 losses that shut your business down, and it's not a prudent business decision at that time to make. And so we have a lot of mom and pops. We want to have 100% year-over-year growth in customer acquisition. So we don't have a ton of clients. We're around 100 clients now. 100 of you got some of the biggest in that, and we'll never have thousands of clients, but we're trying to get from 100 to 200 clients. And there's some clients are not going to work with us. I mean, we've let clients go too. There's a mutual thing that has to occur where we can't treat our employees badly. Like it's just not worth it for us. We have to have this partnership. So as we bring in new clients, they have to maintain a standard, as do we.
Well, through our sister company, Falcon, as well. Like we want to expand on CFS and what it's doing, and we want to continue. But there's other offerings and products that we have and that we want to be able to offer. Now that Josh and team has done such a good job at kind of the last handful of years figuring out this one disruption, there's a lot of other disruptions that we all experience as well. And can we make sense of that? For the larger, like the aircraft owners or the man at 191 or 135 or that jet card program pricing, all those things, there's areas that we have to help that as well.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know there's a product out there for an aircraft, a 91 aircraft. So if you own an airplane and you want to have an insurance product, not a support product, which we are, our sister company, Falcon MGA out of London, has a insurance product that can support your recovery should you go tech as an aircraft that you own. So that, and to me, it's probably our best product that nobody knows about.
How's it work?
So you would buy an annual policy. So it would be dependent on what the type is and how many hours you fly. Then it's a flat fee for that. And then should it break, they would go out and pay 30% of the charter price. So it's a fixed number percentage of the charter. So would
you help them find a charter as well?
Yeah. So CFS would help that customer to go find the trip or find the aircraft. So there's another product out there that if you have an aircraft on 135 and you want it to go out in charter, but you're worried about OAs because you're like, we've all been in the space where we have owners decline because
I'm going to use it in a few days. I don't have to break on the road.
Yeah, the trip, like we had one that went to, I think it was Sydney or something. And we had 10, it was a beautiful trip, great trip. It was 5 nights or something like that. And we had 5 OAs decline because they were worried that it was going to break in Sydney. Well, with this product, it would cover your trip back to the home base.
Oh, so like the airplane owner that has his trip a couple of days, he's protected. He can take this charter knowing that his trip is protected.
Well, you can take it. The issue there is like, does it get fixed in time for his trip? But the bigger issue is how does that plane get back home? He just got, let's call it $500,000 for the trip, but he's only getting $250, and he still has to get that airplane back home now. And so what tends to happen with the operators, they're like, or the owner goes to the operator and goes, I don't want to charter anymore. No more charter. So like, how can we help operators retain aircraft owners, their most valuable piece? Like brokers is their valuable piece is their clients. Nobody's more valuable to the whole ecosystem than aircraft owners and having plane out for charters. So if you can predict or protect that, have an owner statement that doesn't go just like this all the time, but it's more flatline, maybe owners are more inclined to say yes to trips and more inclined to keep them on their certificate.
How are you? Yeah. Like, how are you telling people about that product?
Funny though, like,
right now. Just kidding.
it's one of our least marketed products. It is our least marketed products. That one needs to be booked with an insurance broker from the States that goes to Falcon MGA because they have to be licensed in the States, surplus lines. So there's a little bit of issue on how to deliver that because you can't go direct. So our goal this year is to elevate the insurance brokers' understanding of that product so they can go out and sell to their customer.
Interesting. What are some of the insurance brokers right now that are using it or at least pitching it? Or
Yeah, one that's really great is Nick Fideli with Fideli something. Like, sorry, Nick, he's who we use and he's great, but Nick Fideli does a great job. So he knows that product intimately. He knows how to talk through everything. So he's one that I would recommend.
give Nick a call.
But any insurance broker means their duty to find this and give to their clients.
I mean, any aircraft operator, management company that has ever asked from an airplane owner, which most have, oh, I don't want this because I'm afraid I'm going to get stuck and won't be back for my big trip, I think should be something that they should all consider.
And think of this one too. We have the same insurance product that supports your whole entire charter fleet. So I can say this because Jet Out has promoted it. Jet Out, if you book a Jet Out flight, they're going to support you.
They will recover through this
they
product.
Will recover be through the insurance product. So when you book Jet Out, you should book it confidently, knowing that they got you. And you don't need to go to CFS, get any support fees or anything slapped on it because
that's nice.
They're going to protect. What ends up happening is Jet Out comes calling to CFS. We go out and recover, find the solutions, and then they give it back to their customer.
Oh, wow. That's great.
So it's a quiet one, and we got to get it out there. But maybe this is the day we're doing
I think so, because that was something that I didn't even know, and I'm obviously a proponent of CFS and a fan and a prophet of it. So, if someone wants to get a hold of you, we're gonna figure out the best way to do it. We'll probably do a specific landing page for all the Ironbird podcast customers. It'll be flyironbird/CFS. That'll connect directly with your sales team. You'll give them a demo. You get to talk to them about it. Anything else you think people need to know before? Like, what would be the best way to kind of dip your toe into CFS?
I think it starts with a phone call, whether you're an operator or a broker or you do both, and just so that we can talk through things. And we're happy to set something up for them just to see how it goes and figure it out before they maybe want to we grandfather people into like the membership that we have. We really said it's not like a big barrier to entry or a fee or anything like that, but we just want to work with people and we want them to see the value. So I think anybody that can spare 30 minutes to jump on a phone call with us, and Rob Clipper does amazing job, and Josh and I join them a lot too. And sometimes we'll have some of our team members on there, just depending, and asking their questions. I just had a call with like a former colleague of mine, and they're like, we're thinking about this. And it was just like rapid fire, go. And it was just like, boom, boom, boom.
And how quickly can you get someone set up?
Like immediately.
Yeah, same day. They can talk to you, say, hey, I've got this flight. Tell me about it. And then same day
you can place support on it that day. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. We call that going on the witness stand. Like when we do big brokerages, there's like, you're doing a Zoom call and there's 50 boxes in Zoom calls, but like you're just getting bombarded with questions and now most of them are all questions that have been asked before. So it's a little bit better, but we've heard some really good questions. We've got a lot. We learned.
Right. You remember any good ones that you can?
No, just helping us like learn and do better at our product. So like, again, we don't have all the answers today. We'll get better each day, but we hear some Ross with FX Air, shout out to you, dude. Like he fires some very hard questions where you have to step back and go, I need a minute. Like I come back to you on that one. So,
well, he's seen some things. That's why, they're all from his real world examples.
Big question that I get, we talked a lot about the operators, and we're both really passionate about that side of the industry, but a lot of people think that it's really hard to get the tech log, and it is not. And we do that heavy lifting if there is a stuck. And I think it helps with the background that we have, because coming from an operator, I can pop on the phone with a DO or DRM or whomever and just be like, look, I was actually on that side of the fence. This is what we need. Like, it's not an invasive thing. Like, I think it's not because the operator doesn't really have an issue. It's just a little like,
who am I sharing it with? Yeah, I've never had a problem. Some people, like when it's first happened to them, I've had some people be like, huh? And then I'm like, oh, let me connect you with it. You don't even have to give it to me. You're giving it to them, and then let me connect you with them. And then after that call, I don't think it's ever been a problem.
Yeah, and this is to operators. If you do not want it to be floating out there, we sign NDAs. We have plenty of operators that are on NDAs that we get the tech log. Obviously, don't share that information, but we have it for what we need.
Go to flyironbird.com/CFS. Set up a call with Rob. Start getting the service today.
Yeah.
Josh, Erin,
Great.
thanks. Appreciate
Thank
you guys
you.
coming on.
Yeah. Thanks for
You got
having
it.
us.